Greetings, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Barbara Dean Franklin Show, Real Talk, Real People. I am your host, Barbara Dean Franklin, and today I have the awesome pleasure of sitting with my brother, my friend, Mr. Anthony Morgan. How are you, Anthony?
I'm great. How are you?
I am wonderful. Anthony is the owner of Morgan International.
Morgan International TV 34 Multimedia Production.
Yes, and it's really funny that Anthony was coming out today to just look at the studio, you know, some of the equipment, give his expert advice on some of the things that we're doing, but he has been put on the spot because my guest wasn't able to make it today. So now I have a new guest. We're going to talk about his passion of photography, video, and give us a little sneak peek about this smoke table that you made. But before we get into talking about that, I want to know how long you've been doing what you do and where did the passion come from?
Well, it started a little bit out of right out of high school, my last junior, senior year in high school. I probably don't look as old as I am, but this was way back in 78, 79.
Okay.
So initially, I was going to school and I was into culinary.
Okay.
But I caught the photography bug, and it was just something that stuck with me. I've always enjoyed seeing the old home movies and everything, and that's something that I always wanted to have or do.
Okay.
So the photography is what started with me, and I remember years ago I had to beg my mom to get me the small Kodak box camera.
Okay.
And it just bloomed from there, and it's been going from then. I've been doing it for over 30 years. It's truly a passion. I've had a chance to photograph everybody from Michael Jackson to President Obama. You know, just a lot of celebrities, entertainers. It's just a passion.
So now, did you go, I mean, when you caught the bug, did you get professional training, or did you first have that eye, you were good at it, then you got professional training, or how did that happen?
I think it was a natural thing for me.
Okay.
I think it was just an eye that I had for it. Because where I live down south, that's where I grew up, we didn't have access to a lot of the things that we have now, and especially down there.
Right.
So I did a lot of reading. I went online and did a lot of photography magazines, video magazines. Took a course from New York Institute of Photography online. So not really online at that time.
Exactly.
But it was a course where you could
mail
in and, you know, your schoolwork and everything.
You're
so I did all of that. Right. I did all of that and just kept going. I did a lot of trial and error stuff, you know, buying equipment slowly here and there.
Right.
And just moving along step by step, taking my time and just getting all the items that I need to put in place, you know, one by one. And that's what built up to where I'm at now.
Okay. So what is the, you know, I look at people who are into taking the pictures, and, you know, sometimes they can capture just a simple thing and it's just like kind of profound. What is the most important thing is for you when you're taking a picture of somebody? What are you trying to capture?
Well, it's two things: emotion and lighting.
All right.
Lighting is the key.
Okay.
You know, everybody talks about that. That's the key. The whole key to photography is lighting.
Okay.
You know, if you want to see it, you light it. If you don't, you don't.
All right.
But when it comes to photography, and it depends on the type of photography that you're doing, you want to try to capture the emotion.
All right.
And that's what really important. And because a picture can tell a story.
Exactly.
You know, a video tells a story better because there's a lot of movement and action.
Right.
But you can look at a picture, and I tell people this all the time, you can look at a picture from 10 years ago and you knew exactly what you were doing at that particular time.
Yes.
You know, so that is what really got me, you know, really passionate about photography. And then at the same time, I used to see a lot of people, you know, and it's unfortunate when you came down to doing things like the obituaries, you would see people that had pictures from 10, 20 years ago on their obituary. And this is not how that person looks now.
Right.
So I would always say, it's always good to have current pictures of yourself because you just never know.
You don't.
You never know. So I try to not only, you know, with what I do, I try to teach a lot.
All right.
You know, I try to teach the youngsters a lot about photography and video work and, you know, what it takes being behind the scenes.
Right. Okay, so now we're going to do a station break right there and then tell people. So if people wanted to get to you because you do the all kind of look. You do all kind of you do weddings, you do training and tutorials, and is it boudoir and video productions and portraits. So if somebody wanted to contact you, Morgan International, or for TV34, because you do production as well, you know. So we got people out here that are doing videos and you know, video shoots, the hip hop, you know, artists, and you do whatever. How would they contact you?
They can reach me on Facebook. I have my business page, TV34 on Facebook. I'm in the process of putting together a new website. They can email me at morganintlphoto@sbcglobal.net, and they can also reach me by phone at 313-420-9802.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit, because you told me with TV34 how you kind of got that in memory of your mom. So let's tell a little bit about that to the audience, how you came up with that.
The way that happened was my mom died, it'd be 7 years ago in September, and she was very instrumental behind what I do. You know, I do a lot of stuff out of my home. And at the time when she was ill, she was staying with me. So I gave her the upper living quarters, and I was staying in the basement. And that's why I did all of my work. So I would be downstairs doing different things and putting stuff together, and I would put something together and bring it up for her to get the approval on it. And I knew once I got the approval from her, it was good. You know, and the first sort of commercial that I did was from the auto show. And she saw it, and she thought it was an actual TV commercial. She was that impressed with it. And so after she died from breast cancer, I decided that I was going to do a tribute to her. You know, I wanted to keep her with me at all times because she was very special to me. And so what I did was, she was born in 1934. And I took the number 34 and put it on one of my cameras. And so everywhere I go, this 34 is with me. So what I ended up doing was, I woke me up in the middle of the night, this idea, TV34. So that's what turned into the TV34 multimedia production company that I'm doing. And it's more about trying to train, trying to teach others, trying to teach not only the youth, but older generation as well. You know, because of today's technology, everybody's doing internet broadcasting and doing different things. So it's good to know behind the scenes what you can and can't do.
That's true. Now, one thing that we were talking about as you were here, you know, you talk about information sharing, you know, how it is hard for, you know, people in your trade, like maybe they don't share enough, you don't collaborate enough with each other. People always see things, and this is just not in what you do. It seems to be, you know, abroad. Everywhere that you go, you hear the same thing, that a lot of times people look at each other as competition instead of collaboration, instead of partnership, you know, because you may have a trick of the trade. Especially like building the smoke table, you know, that you want to share with people, you know, because you know, you built yours and it works for you. Somebody may build, you know, the smoke table, add water with it, or do something different, you know, and so you just all add on to the things that you do. So, tell me a little bit about what you find in your industry, how hard it is to collaborate with people.
Well, the biggest challenge right now is with the really advent of digital photography. That has changed so much, where people realize now that they don't have to go get the training that they really need. You know, because you need to know the aspects of photography, aperture, shutter speed, lighting, and all of that. And now with digital cameras, you can take the picture, look at it. If it doesn't look good, you can erase it and try it again. You know, adjust the settings or whatever. Or a lot of times people just put the camera on program or automatic and let the camera do everything. You're missing out on a lot. You know, so when you know the details on how to change the shutter speed, how to set a separate aperture and things like that, you're more control of the end results. So, and when I'm working, I like to get it right the first time, so there's less that I have to do in post-production.
All right. Well, that's, you know, that's good to know, because I'm looking, when I was on your TV34 page, I saw that, and plus you posted that you wish you could go to the NASCAR this weekend. So I'm seeing you in the midst of around all the NASCAR races. So you actually were able to be there and film the NASCAR races?
Yes, I was, and that was sort of a surprise. You know, And that's the one thing that I like about NASCAR is that you can go to one of the races and they don't really have restrictions on what you can and can't bring in.
Okay.
So I was able to take one of my shoulder mount cameras in, and it was just like I was part of the NASCAR crew.
Okay.
You know, the fans loved it.
All right.
You know, I would focus on them. They knew I was on them, so
Right.
they would give me all the cheers and everything that I needed.
Right.
And I was able to do interviews and things like that. And I got a chance to get, you know, down on the track,
Right.
you know, in some of the pits with some of the drivers and things like that. So it was just the coolest thing.
That's good. That's good. I know. You said that the race is this weekend.
This weekend, right?
Okay.
Michigan International Speedway.
Okay. They move too
Yes,
fast for me.
yes,
I
I
just
love
really-
it. I love it.
I don't even see how they could do that. I like to take my time, get where I'm going. But you talked about school. You talked about a school that you went to that is in Oakland. Talk a little bit about that school.
Okay. After I moved here in Detroit in '84, I decided to get a degree in photography just to have that under my belt, and I got that at Oakland Community College.
Okay.
But after that, I started getting more and more into video production, and I always wanted to go to Specs Howard,
All right.
but I just couldn't afford it. And I found out through a friend about this place called CMN TV out of Troy.
All right.
Excellent program.
Okay.
Excellent program. They're offering a fall program that's starting up very soon if it hasn't already started. And it's a 10-week program. For non-residents, I think it's $500.
Right.
And for residents, I think it's only $75.
Wow.
And they teach you everything behind the scenes, working the camera, editing, directing, all of it. You get all of it in a 10-week program, and it is really great. It's a really great program.
Okay.
I highly recommend it.
So you do video shoots where, I mean, there's just nothing, there's no limit to what you would do. So somebody say, you know, my daughter and my son-in-law, they are both in the music industry, you know, and my daughter also does hair too. So she was thinking about maybe even trying to do a reality show in her beauty shop. You know,
Okay.
you could come out and do something like
Okay.
that in the
Yeah.
shop. You would
Yeah, I
do that.
could.
Okay. And then you do music videos,
Right.
but you would only be there for the camera. They have to have their own music and things of that nature.
Well, all of that can be done on the back end, post production. You can always add music, you know, to the production itself.
Okay.
You want to just make sure that, you know, when you're doing something like that, that you've got all the things in place.
Okay.
You know, you got to make sure that the lighting is right. You know, audio is very important.
Okay.
Very important. So you want to make sure that that's in place. And then when it comes time to editing, you know, just putting all the features together and make sure it blends in well and tell a really good story.
Okay. So now this is what I'm on your page, and I was looking, and you know, I see this girl on this table. I see this girl. I can't tell that she's on a table. I just see her laying, and I see the smoke, and the smoke is strategically placed. I mean,
Right.
coming, you know, from these different areas. A very professional, very nice looking. And then as I read a little more, it says you made this table.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
It was something, again, one of those, when you have a passion for something, ideas come to you at any moment, all time of the day or the night.
Okay.
So this one came to me in the middle of the night, woke me up, you know, it was almost like a God-given thing or a dream or
Amen,
something. It's
yes.
like, okay, I can create this fog table. And what I did was just took a 6-foot table.
Okay.
I had another photographer friend of mine I laid the piping out first.
Okay.
Using regular PVC piping. Got a fog machine that I attached to it, and I laid it out the way that I wanted the fog to come up out of the table.
Okay.
And then just had it mounted to the bottom of the table. I've got 3 holes drilled in the top. And so the fog comes up out of the table. I can just have it shoot up automatically when I want to
Right.
get that perfect shot.
Right.
I also created a couple of extra links where I can have fog shooting in different directions, or I can post on a stand and have it coming, you know, in different directions.
Wow. Now that is creative.
And it worked out really great. It worked out really great.
Okay, yeah, I'm you know, I've seen several, you know, different shots, different poses. If you go to his Facebook page, TV34, you will see the awesome work, you know, that you do. And I mean, for you to create a fog table, I'm sure, I don't know what it would have cost had you went and bought that professionally.
It's very inexpensive. Probably if you buy things outright, the most expensive thing is going to be the table itself.
Okay.
You know, you can get a fog machine probably for about $40, $50. The valves and everything that you need, the piping, is very inexpensive.
Okay.
Home Depot, I went and got everything from there.
All right.
And just started putting all the connections together.
But you said that you were going to actually do a video of how you put the table together,
Yes.
or an instructional.
I'm going to be putting together, me and my son are going to be putting together an instructional video on how I created the table itself.
All right.
So if anybody else wants to do it, and you can create your own. You know, there's so many different ways that you can do it. You can create different positions where you want the fog to come up out of the table.
Okay.
Because it can be used for many different things, not just for modeling or anything. You can use it for a lot of different things.
Exactly. Well, definitely, we know that you don't have to just use it for modeling, but you know, I'm just thinking like they use fog machines and videos or
Right.
something, so you could set it up in the back, and maybe
Exactly.
even if you're doing a video
Right.
shoot or something of that nature. Well, or you can even use it in a scary movie. You know, when people
You really can, you know, and that's one of the things that I was going to do, shooting a photo layout with a young lady. Right beside my house is an alleyway.
Okay.
And I was going to have the fog coming through the alley, and she's going to come out through the
Okay.
fog.
Okay.
You know, and do some
Okay.
images and things like that. So
that's-
a lot of different ideas, a lot of things you can do.
That's really creative. And now you say you do your like training and tutorials. Are you going like your training? Can they get, do they actually have to come and be with you when they do training, or are you putting together a package where they can get it online? They can get a CD or
I'm doing a combination of things. I'm trying to put together some DVD tutorials.
Okay.
As well as I work at another location called Detroit Impact Center.
All right.
Over on Greenfield and Plymouth. And every other Saturday or whenever we have something going on, I have some students or whoever wants to come out and show them a little bit of behind the scenes on how to do production, editing, and different things like that.
Okay. Well, that's good. Tell us again how they can get in touch with you if they wanted to use your services, if they wanted to get more information about your products and your training and different things like that. Give us your number again.
Okay, the number is 313-420-9802. They can also find me on Facebook, TV34, or Anthony Morgan. And also, you can email me at morganintl.photo@sbcglobal.net.
Okay. Now, the most important thing that I think that I would like to talk to you about is you said you did a documentary about domestic violence and abuse, because that is one of my passions. I have a organization, Women in Power Crossing Path, and it's a network of women uplifting, inspiring, and encouraging other women. I used to be a domestic violence, not used to be, I will be for the rest of my life, a domestic violence advocate, because I definitely know, being a survivor of domestic violence, that the help comes from within.
Right,
Once you start taking your power back and loving yourself, you get up,
That's
you will
exactly
get
what it
away
is,
from
right.
that type of relationship. Tell me a little bit about that documentary, and where can you see it? And I definitely would like to get a copy of it, but tell me a little bit about how you got involved in that.
Actually, I was working with a friend of mine. We had been working on several projects for 5 or 6 years or so, and I went to her to work on another project, and she came to me and said, "No, I have something for you." She said, "I want you to do a documentary."
Okay.
And I had never did a documentary before, and she said, "It's going to be about me, and it's on domestic violence." And I was like, okay. So that sort of caught me off guard for a minute, and then we started talking about the story and everything, and she said she had been going through it for 32 years of her life.
Okay.
And when we actually did the documentary, she was getting ready to turn 50. So we did a lot of discussion, a lot of taping about what she went through. I had a chance to talk to several other victims, that were some of the stories you just would not believe.
Right.
And we put it together. This was a documentary. Normally, a documentary may take a year or two to put together.
Right.
This one was done probably within 3 or 4 months, maybe 5.
Okay. The story needed to be told.
Yes, it needed to be told, and it really did help a lot of people. We ended up showing it at the Millennium in Southfield.
Okay.
I have to get back in touch with her because I do want to promote more with it, and I've been doing a lot more with domestic violence with a couple of other friends that were involved in the production itself as well. Okay. But it's something that a lot of people don't want to talk about.
Right, most definitely.
That's one of the things that I found out. Probably about 75% of women go through some form of domestic violence.
Yes.
And they don't want to talk about it because of the fear of being harmed, what it's going to do to their family.
Right.
You know, when the story gets out, how are people going to look at them?
Right.
You know, and
Right.
and people always say, well, why didn't you just leave?
And
it's
that's
not that easy.
It's not that easy.
That's the thing that you have to understand. It's not that easy.
And a lot of times when you are a victim of domestic violence, you've talked to people about it, and people judge, like, again, why don't you leave? And then they turn their backs on you.
Exactly.
Like, I've talked to you over and over again. You know, I'm done with it. If you want to stay, then you know, they need to have a voice. They need somebody to listen and understand, you know, what it is that they're going through. If it was as easy as just leave, you know, women would leave. But then there's that circle of control that, you know, they've been manipulated, thought to feel that you're nothing, you're never going to be.
That's the biggest thing, is that control factor, where a person knows that they have that control over you through scare tactics and things like that. I had one lady tell me that her ex-husband was a cop.
Okay.
And he told her one time that when she was in the bed asleep, he walked up to her and put a gun in her head. That's that terror they put in you. You know, they want you to feel that you're ugly, that you're not worthy of anything. Nobody else wants you.
Right.
You know, so that's what keeps you there. And then if there's children involved, that's another factor that you have to look at. So all of that comes into play. And the thing that we talk about now is that plan. Plan your way out.
Most definitely. You have to have a plan.
And you have to keep that to yourself.
Exactly.
You know, and that's how you sort of exit out of this situation.
Most definitely. Well, I truly commend you for being, you know, involved in that documentary, you know, and that men and women suffer from abuse, you understand?
Right.
And women and the men, anybody, I mean, because the man is not going to talk about being abused, you know, at all. So, they need the support, you know, they need somebody advocating on their behalf, you know, because we should be able to, you know, in a perfect world, you know, we eradicate any violence at all. And they would not, you know, they should have a choice to choose who they are going to be with, you know, and when they leave, they shouldn't have to fear for their lives about leaving anybody. With domestic violence.
And one of the gentlemen that I talked to, that I did an interview with the documentary, he made a really good point, that the fact that men only get away with what women allow them to get away with.
So true.
You know, so, you know, he stated the first time he hits you or she hits you,
it won't be the last.
It won't be the last. You know, that's only the beginning. And, you know, he'll say that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it.
That's that honeymoon stage.
Exactly.
That they make up with it.
And they go back, you know. And the first thing that they say, but he loves me. You know, nobody loves you when it comes to abuse. If they have to instill that fear and beat you and everything, and they know how to do it strategically where it doesn't show.
Most definitely.
So you can still go to work and everything.
And always, domestic violence is not always physical. It's mental as well.
Very mental.
You know, so sometimes it's just that, you know, manipulating you with finances, sexual, just different things that they use to control and manipulate you. And that's what Women in Power Crossing Paths, you know, what we want to address. We're trying to be proactive. We're trying to reach back to the young girls to give them some self about themselves, to make them stronger in their mind. Not, we don't talk or advocate man bashing, but you have to have and know who you are. You know, when you're strong and you love yourself.
That's the most important,
you know,
part.
When you
is
love
yourself,
you do.
That's the most
you
important
have
thing.
the power. No one can take it from you. You recognize that, you know, you don't need something to make you strong. Now, you know, anybody that is with you should be adding to your life. You should be both and lifting each other up and, you know, building up. When one is weak, you should be strong. You both, you know, but.
And that's what I tell people all the time, especially women. If you need a man to make you happy, you're already in trouble.
Most definitely.
You're already in trouble. Definitely. So you gotta love yourself first, and then branch off from there.
Yes, yes. So, you know, I again commend you and I thank you, you know, because we have a show. Father Michael Orr has a show. I think it's called Things That Men Don't Tell, you know. And he has a service, Dominion Family Services, where he works with abusers, you know, men who have been mandated by the court to go in and talk about it, to try to help them change their lives,
and
you know.
It's great that you bring that up, because that was one of the things that we were trying to do, and as far as doing a part 2 of the documentary, which it never came to, but we wanted to try to get some men that were abusers to talk about it, to talk about what they did, how they came out of it, and how they changed their lives, you know. But it was difficult trying to get them to do that.
Right. Well, then, you know, if you still have that idea, I have somebody that I can hook you up with, and Father Michael is working, you know, on a project. As a matter of fact, he did a show. He has a couple of pilots that he did here. So I definitely can hook you up with him, and that might be something that you guys can do. I had told my audience that they could call in and ask any questions. I don't know if anybody is looking, but if anybody has any questions, we're down to the last 5 minutes of our show, so they can call in and ask you any questions. But what I wanted you to do, I wanted you to look into the camera, because there are some young girl, some young boy that is out there that loves that camera, that, you know, they want to do something with it, and they don't have a clue as to how to start or what to do. So I want you to just tell them about, you know, give them some hope about their dream of doing what you do.
Okay. The biggest thing is having a passion for what you do. You know, it's a lot of times it's difficult trying to find out what your passion is. Once you do that, that makes it so much easier for you. So if you like being in front of the camera, if you like being behind the camera, try to learn as much as you can, whether it's through formal training or, you know, teaching yourself on your own. Anybody that wants to get information from me, feel free to give me a call. I'm more than willing to help you out. If you need something like promos done, or you want to be tested in front of the camera, behind the camera, to see how you work, I can help you with all of that. So just stick to what you believe in, and just go for it. That's the main thing. And just don't let anybody get in your way. Just go for it and just strive for what you want to do.
That's great. Well, I really thank you for allowing me to put you in the hot seat.
Thank you.
You know, for just being open to sitting here, talking with me, sharing with me. You know, I feel your passion for what you do. I look at your, you know, your pictures on your site, and I know that you're very professional. You are doing, maybe one day when I have my wedding, you know, you'll shoot my wedding.
I'll be here for it. And you know, hopefully I'll get a chance to come back and we can talk about the newer technology as far as the green screen and all of that stuff, you know, the virtual sets and things like that.
Most definitely. I would love for you to do that. You and Isaac, you know, because I'm in front of the camera. You and Isaac can talk the behind the camera.
Yeah, I prefer being behind.
Yes, you guys can talk about that, but I just truly, again, want to thank you. I look forward to a partnership, you know, collaborating with you more on things that, you know, we could do together. Anything that I can help you do, definitely, you know, I'm there for you. Is there anything that maybe I didn't mention that you wanted to say before we sign off?
No, this is definitely a pleasure coming out and talking with you and everything. And like you said, I'm looking forward to future endeavors and working together on a few other projects and everything. But again, just for the audience, find your passion. Yeah. You know, if you want to be behind the scenes, be behind the scenes. That's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Everybody wants to be in front of the camera, but behind the scenes is where it all happens. So find that passion and go for it.
All right. Well, thank you again for taking the time out of your busy day to sit with me. To my fam, my public, the people who watch the show every week, I'm going to end the show as I always do, telling you thank you for watching the show. From my beating heart to your beating heart, I love you. You understand? Okay.